Okay. Woohoo. And we are live, and it is New Year's Eve. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Now I got that Madonna song in my head. I only got 4 minutes to save the world.
World.
Yep. Hello, everybody. Cosmic Orphan, Steven, best mod ever, best mod of the year for me. Thank you so much for being here and modding for me when you can. And everybody who will be watching this on playback, thank you for joining Jeff and I. This is like one of my most favorite segments because I actually found another fellow poet, creative writer who is willing to join me on a live show and share poetry, prose, short story writings, whatever. And at the end, we'll take a few requests for a energy reading from one of our chatters, and then we will kind of do a free flow not just well, we'll read a card, but we'll also do a free flow poem. So just really cool. I love this dynamic. So Jeff, again, thank you for joining me
Thank you.
this month.
Thank you for hosting me. I appreciate it a great
Oh,
deal.
not a problem, my friend. I love having my fellow artists and poets. So we'll give it a few minutes. And Steve, any New Year's resolutions you want to share? And Jeff, you got any? I don't really like resolutions for me because it's
Well,
like if you can't do it, then you get down on yourself and you feel even worse. So for me, it's more just like instead of New Year's resolutions, maybe New Year's affirmations, working towards goals, and not just I got to do this by this date and that date. And you know what I mean?
I
So,
think, yeah, every day we kind of do that to ourselves where we set
hey,
ourselves
Tom.
for goals, but we don't need to set ourselves up for failure. So I don't
No.
really do resolutions. I mean, this year I've got to lose weight. Um, but all these external things are going to be done to me to help me do it, but I'm not
Mhm.
really willing yet to actually do the work to do it. So I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it should be
You
my
got to
quote
put in
unquote
the work.
resolution, but it
Hmm.
won't be. So I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say, I'm going to take the Wegovy or the Ozempic and whatever. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm still going to be on the antidepressants and the benzodiazepines that make you eat. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it's hard. It's when your medication's battling
ugh,
you. I get it. I'm on a medication that does, maintain weight. So it can be an uphill battle sometimes. Um, I get it. And for me, the summer, I mean, I put weight on because of the holidays, but during the summer, I was really starting to get strict, more water, less carbs, less sugar.
it
I've
worked.
fallen back a little bit because for me, when winter comes along, it's my favorite warm, comfy foods and stuff and whatnot. And of course, when you're under stress, like, a lot of people know that I have been in the last 2 months. Sometimes I turn to food for comfort. And so it's a personal, maybe I can say it's a personal battle, or it's a personal, I don't know, because I even have to watch really words nowadays because words, speaking of words, poetry, words have power.
They do.
And
Yeah.
so if we say, we people just would just start watching the words that they say, not just to others, but to themselves as well. Words can be used as people think, oh, there's no, like I know, and I'm not knocking, Sterling, but there is a psychic on YouTube. A lot of us people know he goes by Sterling, and he says there's no such things as spells. And I remember going, but there is. Prayers are spells. When we say mantras to ourselves, that's a spell because you're speaking an
I use them
intent
all
or
the
an
time.
idea, and you're making it, you're bringing it out, you're speaking it, you're putting it out into the universe. And so, what we say, what we do, but mostly really what we say to ourselves, even if it's out loud or in our head, that is really that's spell work. So we really have to watch what kind of stories or spells or even affirmations, in a way are spell work because
Hmm.
you're putting intent and focus and energy into a spoken, prayer affirmation. They're words.
Hmm.
And so And let's see, we do have some support here. Tom says the food battle is one of the hardest kinds to break.
Yeah,
Yes, especially
it
the
is.
sugar, because
Yeah.
there's so much sugar and crap in our foods that I've had to really cut back because of the inflammation. Once I did cut back on, I have soda once, maybe twice a week. Um, and I've had to watch the carbs, but since I cut down mostly on the sodas, and allow the processed foods like the deli meat and too much of like cereals and things and stuff, my inflammation has gone down. So there's just a lot more crap that's going into our foods now than there were when we were kids. um, and Steven said, oh, at early ritual do to get a bunch of Superman to authority. Okay, okay, all speaking is magic, yes. But yeah, so for me, going into the new year, I'm going to just stay focused and do my best to watch and try to eat as best as possible. And yeah, I mean, it's not easy for people to maintain a healthy self-image, or not self-image, that too, but self-acceptance or
Hmm.
self-esteem, when at this time of year you've got every time you turn on a commercial, let's go to the gym, go to the gym, go to the gym, try this diet, try, and then knowing full well that people are going to take advantage of these people. These people are going to lose a lot of money, and they're going to be
Yeah.
making money off of it, and they know that people are going to, it's just a vicious cycle. um yeah, Heather, don't speak cosmic actions to reality. I was when I saw the true dad, I thought it was something that Stephen was supporting with what Jeff had said. But is it Stephen or Stephen? Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Let's just call the whole thing off. Good night, everybody. No, just kidding.
Bye.
That is our show. So,
I think they should just call it a New Year's Eve intention or a New Year's intention.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
it's intentionality, I just,
There you go.
and if I don't have the intention, that's not going to happen. So I don't make them. I've never made them.
I mean, affirmations are important. Like I
No,
know
definitely.
some of the ones like Marina and from Heart Center Tarot and Val from Dragonfly Crystals, that they come up with some really beautiful ones. And for me, going into the new year, it's one of my favorites is I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm wealthy beyond my wildest imagination. That's one of them. But I always make sure that I put the wealthy after, because you know wealth is important, yes, but to be happy, to be healthy, all of them really go together. And along with a few others, they have some perfect ones. They really do. So and there's another thing too. We have to also watch. I know from when I was living in Arizona and Sedona, Flagstaff in 2008, and I did 2007, 28, and learning Reiki and learning, the positive self-talk and the affirmations, that there are some that kind of slide into the toxic spirituality, kind of like the spiritual narcolepsy, they call it. Kleber Reed calls it. And it gets to the point where it's, like, well, if things are not going well and things are, then you must not be doing it right, you must not be trying hard, you know what I mean? It's just, so we really need to learn how to balance. And because we're human, and if some things aren't going right in our lives, and we do say our prayers and we do our affirmations, and things aren't coming, we got to stop like blaming, pointing fingers, it's that toxic
Hmm.
positivity, that toxic spirituality that some people fall under. I'm not saying a lot do in our community, but I have seen it,
Oh yeah, and
it around.
with this bit about the ascension, quote unquote, that they're talking about now into the 5D. I
Hmm.
feel that a lot of emphasis is being placed on where we're deficient as humans, where we can't fix ourselves. It was a reader, and I won't
Hmm.
name them, a reader, two readers whom I really do like. But I left the live feeling like I needed to go jump out of a plane, which is totally antithetical to my
Yeah, you
belief.
don't want to
Because
do
they're like,
it.
you
Yeah.
got to let go of fear. You got to put the truth out there. You've got to do everything you need to do now, or you'll get left behind. Is the message, and that's what they kind of said. The people who are going to ascend are the ones with everything around them that's been cleared, and it's like, I've been here according to the Akashic records 8 times. I'm pretty new. I don't want. If I had my choice, I would not come back. But I'm not going to change my person. I mean, I'm not refusing to. I just know what type of person I am. I'm not going to change overnight because it's an ascension.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
quote
we're
unquote.
human. We all are, and we're all different. We all have to process our karma, our dharma, whatever you want to call it. Work through our own. We all are different. Like with the stages of grieving, not everybody grieves the same. And for me, grieving is a part of, ascending, or I don't even know if I like the word ascending, because it feels like I'm above over other people. But for me, it's more about spiritual development. Am I spiritually evolving? I don't know if I don't know. For me, I like evolving more than ascending. It's just, I mean, and certain words will, we, like being writers, certain words resonate with us on a positive level that helps us move forward. Where some, for you that day, those certain words or phrases um, didn't work for you, and it didn't resonate right, and it didn't feel right, and you left. So for a lot of us, it's all really, I think for me, people talk about like word of the year, and I really want to, so many people, for me, it's always, well, manifesting this, manifesting that. And I'm like, yeah, for me,
Mhm.
sometimes I kind of have to step back because there's that word being thrown around a lot too. But I think for me, um, authenticity, especially having a YouTube channel, being a tarot reader, people come to you for, messages, and you want to make sure that people understand that, yes, we can, talk, bring out the tarot, the oracle. We can kind of see what they give us, what guidance, but at the end, we just can't. I've seen a lot of people give their power over to what our cards say, or or what maybe, channel messages or something. A lot of, I think people really, at least for me speaking, going forward, really need to do the groundwork. um and I'm kind of diving into something. I know we like how the shows, go organically. um but again, it's all about words, like with poetry, writing, channeling, automatic writing, um, listening for the words, writing. Sometimes we have to rewrite stuff, and I'm just going to look at chat really quick. I'm going to stay and grab all the tarot and real estate. Okay, I'm not sure what. Okay, yeah, that makes it uncomfortable sometimes to read for people. Yeah, because I know I will read for somebody week to week. It's the same cards sometimes over and over. And then I'll pop in and say hi to some readers and chatters and other shows, and I see the same question. And yeah, we like different, viewpoints, but when you see that energy, there's sometimes where I just kind of have to leave a live or a chat because I feel that energy start to weigh down a little bit. And I really give it to some of our fellow readers who do so many shows during the week, and are able to tap into that energy. And for me, it's going forward. For me, it's about authenticity, and just making sure that I'm staying authentic and true to myself, my channel, and how I learn and how I build it,
Mhm.
and not feeling inferior. You know, I have noticed some, um, I have noticed that some people say, well, you know, um, I'm not as good at, sometimes I will say I'm not as good. And when and I'm guilty of that. because there are some people who've been reading a lot longer than me. And so they're going to have a better understanding of cards. But sometimes I see, people going, well, they'll go into a chat and like, well, this is where the cool people are. And I'm just like, and that kind of for me is a little bit of a trigger because when I was younger, I was bullied so much. I was never allowed at any table. I was always, sometimes I was almost forced to sit on the floor and eat lunch, even in front of the staff, because nobody would let me sit at the tables to be able to eat my lunch. And so I was never considered a cool kid. I was never really welcomed at a lot of lunch tables. So sometimes it's just like as we get older, we have to be we have to watch ourselves. We're spiritual, we're people who are spiritual. We share our gifts, our messages. And I think that all of us would be good to be mindful as we go into the new year and how things change in the world and how certain words, and I'm not knocking anybody. This is just for evolving, for this ascension. It's just really important, again, watching our words, watching how we speak to ourselves, and making sure that we put that work and that energy into the messages that we receive and we give to others, instead of just relying on every breath. Oh, this happened today, I got to ask somebody, what does the tarot tell me I should do? You know what I mean? It's a tool, it's a guide. And I'm going to be quiet now, and I'm going to let my guests have something to say.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing
So
with it. I
sorry.
mean, as a kid, and it stopped at high school for some reason, luckily, but up through about junior high, I would get on the bus to go to school, and just as an aside, I'd have to sit next to somebody if the seats were full, and they'd be like, "Oh no!" Or one day I had someone going like this to me in the back of the head on the school bus, like this, right? What I'm doing right now.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
and of course, no one said anything because they don't want to get involved.
no, and I didn't say anything. And then, then you've got the garbage that you have going on at home with an alcoholic parent or whatever. And it's like, and
Wow.
I have to say I had attentive parents, but they were deficient in some ways. I mean, but the thing about it is, getting back to your initial point, is we can't put our eggs into one basket and expect happiness to come from that. I mean, it's the same stable of people that are on every day, and I certainly don't want to characterize this community as cultish, but I feel that there are certain people who, as you say, when they're asking variations on the same question, there is someone on YouTube. This was something I was going to bring up to you just out of the blue, but now we have a context in which to put it.
Okay.
Who doesn't believe, a scientist, and I can't remember what his name is, but he was on David Pakman's show earlier this week or last week. I think last week. He doesn't believe in free will, and he can give you scientific reasons why.
Yep, that got brought up today too.
And I personally don't believe in free will. I don't.
Okay.
And I have my reasons not to. I don't believe that everything is a choice.
And Stephen agrees with you about the word cult.
Yeah. Cultish. I mean, I know people have different reasons for coming on here, and I don't want to characterize, especially as a reader, to alienate people from my channel, but it's like, for anyone seeing this down the line, if you're finding your guru here, I'd be a little concerned. That's all I'd say. I would look twice at it and say, what are you getting out of it? And what are they putting into it that you're getting out of it? And are you getting the same thing back every time? And is it, how important is that to you? Because if it is, then maybe these people are better than I believe them to be, And sometimes I think it's just it's like a side hustle for people, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not really something that they're.
Well, I mean, the tarot community, not just ours, but it's so huge. And I've been around to a couple of other different where I just start to listen. I'm like, well, hell no.
You can
You
tell.
know, and but there are some that, I will just go in. Like I said, I am not big on politics. So I don't really, I support my fellow readers. I'll try to pop in every now and then and do a click like and try to do a comment. Um, but for me, I have to watch my energy. And I had COVID earlier this year, back in February. And when your energy, is basically being cleansed, because JJ from Tuta Speaks, like 2 days before I really came down with it, we did a clearing, an energetic clearing. It was live on my channel. And I was like, wow, I felt like stuff was removed. And so by doing that, you have sometimes that some people have kind of like the kickback where it's like, okay, now that that's getting all cleared out, your body's kind of like, whoa. And so, I think that
Mhm.
really opened up, really cleared out, dealt with the COVID, and with that energy being cleared, COVID for me was a bit of a gift because it helped me to realize what energy was not good for me. I would go to certain channels or certain types of shows, and I'd be like, okay, for me, because I was so cleansed and, I was basically like cleaned out and rebuilding, I could tell what certain ones did not resonate well with me. And by the summer, certain friendships, relationships, people were just like right out the
Oh
door.
my
And
God.
in their
Mm,
place, new ones came in.
that were better.
Stephen is one of them. Tom is one of them. You are one of them. So a lot of people that no longer really served me, and it was just like, well, I still hold good feelings, but it's just like, okay, I have to do what resonates right with me. And sometimes some people have come in that were only there to be momentarily, to teach some lessons and for me to learn from, and then it's time to move on. So like today on Tom's channel, we were focusing on the Wheel of Fortune, and it was so interesting. He didn't plan it this way, but Thomas did the Wheel of Fortune today, and that's perfect going into the new year because that wheel is turning. You're steering that wheel. It's like, yes, things are going to happen to you, but we do have a bit of free will to be able to how we're going to respond to it. So there is some free will, but there's also the outside sources that affect our free will. So it's basically, when it comes to free will, I think it's about how we address or how we react to that situation. Um, if that makes sense. And one
Mhm.
of my quotes that I came across, I wanted to share with people today is that Brene Brown, I have several of her books. I really do like her. And her definition of authenticity, I took a snippet of it and I thought was really just these few words. Um, the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we truly are. And that's her definition for authenticity. And I think going into
Mhm.
this new year, I have to really search and find out my true authenticity. Why is it do I want to do this channel? Make a list. What do I want to do moving forward? How can I help without over helping? How can, and start broadening that along with my art. And I just wanted to, Cosmic Orphan saying here, this is very little open and honest. There is very little open and honest discussion. Most groupthink mentality and punish the nonconformist. Yes. And early, Tom said, just to play devil's advocate, if you don't believe in free will, why do you read the cards? That's interesting.
um,
You want to?
I think uh, I like knowing viscerally that even if I can't change something for myself and I can't change something for anyone else, or they can't for anyone else, I can tell them in real terms, or at least in veiled terms, what's going to happen without stating it outright.
Now, when you say veiled, are you saying that through a guise of, um, I don't want to say falseness, but in a veil? Is it like,
Because it can be generalized. I mean, it can be it you the problem I have with free will is this. You've got people in the and it since I came on here that I've let go of free will in a lot of ways because there are forks in every road, but there's only one road among those forks that we're supposed to go down. And then you've got people like Sterling saying ridiculously, and this is just my opinion, we choose our parents from the time that we're, a little star seed up in some place far away in a galaxy long, long gone. And I'm just like,
I
really?
think, I think that's possible.
I mean, really?
For
Like
some people, they have.
so I feel like the external things that happen are just going to happen. And if you've ever made mistakes in your life, or a lot of mistakes with addiction, or as I have, or
Mm-hmm.
with some things, you don't want to think about free will as much because you regret more. So when I'm reading for people, just to get back to Stephen's comment, I think,
I think it was Tom's.
about
I
Tom's,
think.
I don't want to have the sensation that I can show everyone that I can do everything through free will. And whether or not I believe it or not is up to them to decide if they want to believe in free will themselves, obviously. I don't. I think everything is meant to happen. I think there's no time. I think it's a mosaic. God already knows, like Nintendo, what's going to happen.
Then what would be the point of us coming here and having this experience if not to learn certain lessons and learning things that we can change and the things that we
Because it's
can't?
internal. I mean, there are external things that are going to happen to you that are out of your control.
There are external, but then we have the control to change
How we react,
to
maybe.
them, like you did with you mentioned you had addiction.
Yeah, how you react. Yes.
You went ahead and you took your free will and said, you know what, I am going to take responsibility and I am going to get help. And that's what you did. To
And
me,
you
that's free will,
okay.
because you could have just sat back and said, oh well, this was meant to
Just
happen. I'm just
Well, that would be
that's what I'm
a
saying.
cop out. That would be a cop out. And I guess
Well,
maybe on
yeah.
some level I do believe in free will, but I think the human species is I mean it's incongruous to me that in a biblical sense we're told we have free will, and yet we're also told that um there's temptation as one of the greatest sins, and that we're going to succumb to it.
Mhm.
And yet we base wars and things on religion about things that have nothing to do with
Mhm.
choices that we can always control with free will. It just seems to me
Yeah,
like it
I
seems
understand. There are days when I look and go, how do we have free will? How did does that child? How can you tell me what happened to that child was done out of an agreement for the? I mean, so I still, I mean, I'm human. I don't fully understand the universe or what actually goes on the other side. I can listen to different people's perspectives, and their perspectives sometimes come from straight out experiences. So from their experience, even though it's not mine, I can still listen and say, okay, that was their direct experience. How was my
like,
experience?
and
Do
another
they?
thing I have is this too, not to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
I The whole gay debate. I wasn't born like I didn't incarnate onto this planet to be gay. I didn't incarnate on the planet as a gay. I didn't incarnate because it was supposed to be a part of my character. I just am. And not taking religion out of the equation, there are people that still say, either through environment, that can be controlled through free will. or, you know, and it's just, to me, I find, and yet on these channels, when we're supposed to be ascending energies that have crippled us for hundreds of years, thousands, there are still people that are working within those constructs, but those constructs are antithetical to what they're trying to put out there. I think. I don't know.
Well, like I said, again, we all have our perspectives. Now, when you said you didn't
Like,
come
I
up
don't
with this
think,
urge
like,
to be gay,
like,
but
I
you
think,
don't know, you might have. That might have been
I
something
mean,
you
I
wanted
think,
to experience.
I think I can get behind the wheel of a car sober, control my driving, okay? But that's just me. That's just me. That's not, like, what if I hit a child in the middle of the night?
I mean, I've had that fear.
I always have that
and I
fear.
don't drink. So yeah, there's always that fear of
There's that fear, you know, and it's like, and even with like a new year, you know, I have like 3 poems, by the way, which would fit in because they're about Christmas and New Year's in one of these books.
So we'll read those next. Awesome. They'll tie right in.
What I like, tonight is amateur night. You're going to have so many people going out there who they don't drink normally, maybe during the year to the level they're going to drink tonight, and someone's going to get hit. And I just feel like these people aren't making conscious decisions out of free will to hurt people, but they're going to do it anyway, Heather.
And in New York State, people can now smoke publicly. They can smoke marijuana, and people are doing that in their cars while they are driving. And so not only do we have alcohol at play, we also have people doing recreational, using it recreationally while driving. And it's, I don't want, to go into.
And then once you legalize something too, then does free will come out of the picture to an extent? Because like the Hierophant card, it's lawful, it's legal. And then that kind of gives you law and government, and and then, but you'd have total lawlessness if you didn't have it.
And people a lot of people are, they're starting to utilize more. So
that's true.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now you said you have poems that tied into
New Year's and New Year's, yeah, and Christmas. Within this book, which I've talked about enough, there are about 5 poems, and they start in one particular area of the book.
And Sylvia says, yet what you say is a legit concern too. So she understands both sides. Sylvia likes to look at issues and situations from all different sides and have open discussions. So that's something really cool with Sylvia. And people, Jeff has, let me back up really quick. Jeff's channel's link is in the description. And if you go there, he has the section that you click on that takes you to all the links and the one where you can purchase his books if you like. Resolution New Year's Eve. There you go.
There it is. Finality for time zone's sake. Old Ang Syne gives poetic license to a one-day mass exodus from a chronic hangover's absence, to erase our errors accelerated by a doomsday hourglass. We set the illusion that we can keep partying round the clock, and what we resolve will soon by ritual come to pass. After the promises of lives unfulfilled, the human construct of time leaves its own behind. A fleeting second of our lives can bring 4 numbers in a millennium to a screeching stop. Yet new patterns of human behavior cannot be taught, not for a celebratory retrospective or revelry of deeds does this party assuredly favor excited screams, but the prophets who can be right or wrong but once are perennially revered. The citizenry cheers as champagne flutes clink a little before the dawn, the weak spells are tested as soon as the alarm rings. What are you doing this New Year's Eve?
Interesting. I like that. Very cool. So yeah, let's see. I'm just making sure. Thank you, Stephen. Stephen is putting your links in the chat. Along with Sylvius. Thank you, Steve. But yeah, the clink of the glass, and then you wake up in the morning, and then it's all like, okay, and then within, now sometimes it's almost like, okay, now what? You got all that energy, you got all that hype, you got all the, at least for back in the day, you have all the drink, you got the food, you got all that excitement and celebration. And then when you wake up in the morning, there were times when I woke up feeling even more alone, less enthralled, less, and so yeah, it's interesting how we're kind of conditioned, from a child up, that what, especially with holidays coming up, that you're meant to feel like this is, it's how do I say it? Yeah, you, like, at this time of year you're supposed to feel this, and after this is how you're supposed to feel. And then if you don't feel that, then you're like, you feel less of yourself. So it's really interesting how and this is this is where I think maybe our free will is challenged, because we have all these outside forces coming in saying that these things were raised this way. There's the positive things that make, that encourage free thinking, free thought. And then there's others that we've been raised with, that we've been indoctrinated with, that says, no, you have to go on this by faith. This can't be changed. And then, so that's where I think a lot of times free will, radical acceptance, part of, the DBT support groups and lessons, especially radical acceptance, being able to basically like, God, help me accept the things I can change, and the courage or whatever, to change what I can. So for me, labels like free will, to me, that's kind of like a label or a blanket statement. And certain words, certain phrases are going to have very not just subtle meanings, but they're going to have very it's like I'm seeing the word on the ground, and then there's all these roots, there's layers, there's different energies. So it's pretty much how, again, like the grieving process, how we grieve is how we grieve in our own time. We don't follow, like the Kubler-Ross said, this is how, the sections, these are the stages.
Exactly.
And once you pass one, you don't go back to the other. No, we go back and forth, this and that. And that's where I think, same thing with like statements like free will and whatnot. Yes, we do have free will. Do I want to go out tonight and drink and drive? That's your free will. Now, somebody going out who says, I'm going to be careful, I'm not going to do that, so that's my free will. And what happens when those two free wills come together? So it's really, I think, just kind of taking it back and just really like examining.
All of us are tied together, and I don't feel like there's free will or not free will. I feel like it's like love.
Happy New Year's, Jackie.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, it's in Ireland, so Happy New Year's,
Happy New Year
from the future.
Sorry, but like,
I just want to make sure, yeah.
Love, I don't think, like, I mean, there could be layers upon layers on that one, where it could be free will or it could not be free will. Like, you meet someone going up an elevator, they come to the floor below you, or you miss them by accident, you've missed the love of your life, or you haven't, you meet them, you get in love, you fall in love, you get divorced. Now, the act of getting a divorce was your free will, some would argue, but the greater intention around it of meeting somebody, that was accidental. So to me, there was no free will in that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's an interest. Yeah.
like it's a strange. I'm not going to say absolutely, no. I resent anyone that says that there's free will. No, it's just for me. And I don't use it as an excuse because my life didn't turn out the way I wanted it to.
Okay. Bye, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Be safe.
Sorry to be
Enjoy
so
your
grim tonight.
2024.
Bye. But like that's how I see it. I don't know. It's weird.
So I'm going to hold your question for a second because I wanted to share a poem that I came across today. I have no idea what year it was written. I wanted to kind of have something new for the year. So it's interesting how taking something from the past, especially not knowing when in the past, and applying some of that energy to the present. What I wrote is, I know, is going to go through different metamorphoses. But New Year's ended up popping into this, and I just want to go ahead and to share this. Um, and it's, she awakens among the ashes of New Year's morning, embers scattered around her shivering form, like diamonds creating constellations upon her skin, reflecting the wind-drawn snowflakes, creating sigils among the remnants of her shadow self. And so that was from past to present, and actually this is going to be moving on into the future. So um, that's one of the poems that I brought with me today. And I had mentioned earlier Brene Brown. For people who have just come in, I just want to share this quote one more time about authenticity. For me, going into the new year, it's about being as as authentic. Yeah, everybody knows what I'm saying. For myself, and it's a quote by Brene Brown. It's her a small bit of her definition of authenticity. And hello, Rosanna. I saw you popped in, my dear. And it says her definition of authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we truly are.
Oh.
And so for me, that word, that definition is going to start really carrying me into this new year. So let's see, just making sure I didn't mean, no, this is a needed convo and I want to hear more. So, okay. Now, for your question from Sylvia, before we go to another poem, is do you believe in divine guidance, Jeff? Any type of divine, not necessarily established patriarchal dogmatic, but a general spiritual, you know.
Yes,
However,
I believe I have guides, but I can't quantify what kind of role or how much of a role they play in my life. But I feel like that would only bolster the case that there isn't free will, that I have angels protecting me, and that I have galactic beings protecting me, and that I have some spirits protecting me. Like I feel like there are people that are, and I get that, and this is going to sound really woo-woo to go from one extreme to the other, from the pragmatic, logical ideas I have about free will to this. But lately I've been seeing 333, then I was seeing 555, then I was seeing 123, 123, then today I was seeing 111, 111. That's no accident. Okay. I believe someone, but I can't tell you who. If I could ask them if there were free will, I'd love to know the answer and have it told to me that there were. But that's not even the thing. I feel as if, and I just got a warm chill. I'm getting enough. They say they're protecting me. I believe it. I truly.
I've been seeing a lot of 4-4, the 4-4-4, the 5-5-5, 10-26, which was my daddy's birthday, and for the last couple of years, 12-21 keeps coming up a lot too. So I get it.
I believe that. I believe that, and I don't think, I just wish that these things were, and I asked this on my channel today in my 2024 readings. Are we gonna have
Hi, Jane.
ability to talk to our deceased relatives, and I did get a yes, or we're going to learn more about how to do it in the next few years. And it's going to be through some sort of artificial intelligence. And I'm wondering, now that I think about it, if these codings are going to be deciphered, the 555s, the 666s, because if enough about how they're coming in is known, and then all of a sudden, if, you know, in the next 4 to 5 years, we do make connections with our quote unquote galactic friends, we might be able to decipher codes about things that we know nothing about. I still believe there's so much we have to learn.
Exactly.
I still believe that. And I feel like if we're here now, we should take every opportunity this year to do it, because
And that's free will.
and that is, I lose. I mean, I'm gonna.
No, you're not losing. No, I'm just saying there's I think when people say there's everything that's absolute, that this is absolute, that's where you kind of have to step back and go, well, no, because there's so many different balances. There's free will, but it's also balanced where, you know, you have other external factors. So yes, I believe in free will, but at the same time, I also believe in external factors that can affect that. So it's got to be a balance. You can't have, you know, like people say, you can't have the dark without the light, the negative without the positive, the yin with the yang without the yang. So there's always this balance. And so if someone says there's one absolute truth, that's when you kind of have to step back and say, okay, I need to examine this. And is this my absolute? Is this something that resonates with where I am spiritually at in my life? And each year I go through a lot of what I have thought I have believed in, because during the year you meet new people, you have new experiences, um, and sometimes that really shakes you up, gives you like a tower moment, and sometimes it's just a little gentle little turn of, you know, wheel of fortune, or, you know, look, or the hangman looking upside down from a different perspective, you know, and then moving forward, you know, going on, okay, now this no longer resonates, but this does. So it's like, if you're not continually exploring what you believe in and growing and adjusting, even if it's even, and that even includes just being open-minded to another person's perspective, even if you don't bring that on as your own, that's a part of, to me, of growing. And again, for me, I don't know about ascension, because I feel like, you know, a lot of dimensions are all continuous on the same plane level. So I don't feel like going above and beyond people. I think we just evolve and move, like we were saying earlier, into different, you know. And I think sometimes maybe we might step back. We might go into the 5 for a little bit and then say, wait a minute, I need to do a little bit more work in the 2 or the 3. And then, so I don't think it's all one.
Oh, there are people on YouTube that think that some people are going to get left in the 3, Heather, and the rest are going to go to the 5.
Well, some
I kid you
people,
not. I kid you
well,
not.
no, I know that. I've
Yeah.
heard that. And there are some people who will, and not trying to, and I'm not bringing politics into it, but we know how some mentalities and fears that evolve around politics, some of those people may very well be in that dimension for, you know, the rest of their lives. They might end up going a little bit forward
Mhm.
and seeing things differently. I mean, who am I to say? I'm not going to say that, you know, certain people are going to. So this is again where we really have to watch as people that talk, not just what we watch and we talk, but just be able to take everything that everybody says with a grain of salt, because we all come from different experiences, spiritual beliefs, different cultures, different upbringings. So our perspective, whether, you know, growing up might have been completely fabulous, positive, others there may be a lot of trauma informed history and experiences with us. So we just, for me, everything that we hear, we learn, we discuss, we all take with a grain of salt. And yes, there are going to be some people who are going to be hateful and spiteful and can't move beyond that third dimension of fear and hate and distrust. And they may get left behind, but that's not for us to judge. That might be what they are here for on this particular, life walk. They may have to work, because I've had my Akashic records read, and I was a real bastard in some of them,
Were
a
you?
downright bad person. And
I was
so
too
we
in one
have
of them.
different experiences where we learn to grow and to develop. Whereas some people in 3D, maybe this is where they have to be. This was their life purpose, to show other people a different way of being,
Mhm.
without going off the tangent, because this is poetry and
Oh my
tarot. But
God, what have we
again,
done? Oh my God, we've
but
hijacked it.
again, I love
I've
that.
hijacked it. Oh my God, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, Jeff, stop. You did not hijack, because we like our shows to go organically. And so moving forward, this is just something that, and here Jane shared something: asking guides and angels to guide us is free will. Expecting them to do all the work for us, no, that's where we have to. So like I said,
Well, here's another thing.
there's a
Meditation
balance.
can be free will, but what you get in it
Happy
might
New
not
Year,
be.
Amanda. Well, I'm sorry, Jeff. What was that, hon?
Meditation is free will, but what you get out of it might not be. You might see something horrific in meditation, or you might see something prophetic that is going to happen in from an action uh, of which you've made a choice that is of your own free will. But the actual
Mhm.
meditation itself, where you get something, that's your subconscious. That's not free will. So I think
But
there's
what your subconscious is giving you clues, giving you signs, like a tarot card, like our channeled writings.
that's why
Say,
I
here,
like
this is what
stuff,
you're feeling, this is what
because
you're experiencing, but you have the free will at this time to make that change. Or, like I said, certain words, labels, phrases really have a lot of
in
different meanings, a lot of subtlety, a lot of different energy. I don't say energy points, but energetic frequencies.
Mhm.
I'm trying to find,
I
because
love this discussion, you guys. I can't let it go.
no, this is fine. This is where we're supposed to be. And Sylvia said, Jeff, going back to poetry, does poetry hit different thinking with your intellect versus feeling the heart level? Wait a minute.
Yes, it does, because an experience can resonate one way when you're going through it, but that doesn't mean, even if you don't write about it, it's going to resonate the same way 20 years from now, even a minute from now, if it's a mundane experience. So to me, I can write about something like a pencil, all right, that I'm writing with to write a poem, and it it could be evocative and emotive on a level where the writing is flowery or whatever, or the pencil broke, but it could mean something totally different that could make me cry. So, yes, the answer to that is yes, because I also believe that time is a human construct that is imposed by us. So I feel like it's all experienced, not linearly. It's all dimensionally, so that there's, like, if you want to call it, if we have to use terms that we're with which we're familiar to define what I
Mhm.
consider these dimensions to be, because I don't think we're ascending. I think we're going into what's called the future past, the present past, and then there's, the future, whatever. All of it is going to hit me differently depending upon when the experience occurred, or if it's prophetic, what it means, or if it's a vision, what it could mean now versus what it could mean 30 years from now. So I
Mhm.
feel like when I'm doing it, I am getting something viscerally where I'm channeling something, and it's a release for me. So the answer to that is both components go into it, but it hits me probably better from a standpoint of therapy or therapeutic
Mhm.
value for the,
Coping skill.
yeah.
That's why journaling, writing, creativity is so important. Which actually, I had put the page away. but I wonder if I can find it again. Everybody just bear with me for a second. Jeff, did you want to share another poem? I'm looking
Okay.
for something here.
Yeah.
Which one may resonate? Other topic right now? Okay, where did you go? Maybe I'm not supposed to share.
All right. This is about Christmas Day, you guys. It's called Rising Christmas Day, like getting out of bed, rising Christmas Day. Find the meaning of Christmas time. If you're pure of heart, as on any other day, it's the call to let your spirit waft. So the hints that suggest clues about our innate gifts outweigh the adrenalized promises of what's in a box. Santa Anonymous, with humility and brisk pace, can't help but be among the last minute shoppers. As the saintly one suffers in his occupation, he holds the reins. Globe-trotting on his sleigh, he's left holding the bags of a world of merriment's abrupt end, where the children would be mistaken in their disappointment about their letters unanswered, learning to accept it all as magic when it's pretend. Drop
No,
the
was it?
yeah.
Yeah, you said for tact. Okay.
Yeah.
We had a couple of comments, but here I did find talking about the creativity and how important it is. And it says here, the artwork, she's done another deck. I have the Mary Mother Oracle, Shiloh Sophia. I always get her names switched up. So Shiloh Sophia McLeod is the artist, and she did a book back in 2006 called Her Evolution, and it was for her story, and it was a book of artwork that could be colored in, writing prompts, things that she shared. And what she wrote down, one of the points that I saved from the book was, when we create, we contribute to the creativity and healing of others on the planet. And choosing to be an artist, it isn't about artistic skill, it's about being a creator. You are creating a treasure map, a record of your history or herstory, filling your medicine pouch with healing. I love that. So it's exploring the creativity. It doesn't have to be arts necessarily for arts. It's for healing, it's for coping, it's for bringing people together, and it is for healing on a global level on the planet. And the transformation of, it says here, one woman will affect her family and beyond, but that transformation can be the same with men, because not just women can help heal an ancestral line. you know Men can do that as well when they're able to get in touch with their pain, their trauma, um, their joys, their memories, and being able to say, okay, this was how it was in the past, but now moving forward, we can start sending those healing energies and vibes, and we can start making a change so that 1-2 generations from now, you know, that there's the energy would be through enough where the newer generations may not fall into those same cyclical patterns. And if I could share a poem too, really quick, and I noticed that lately the word ash has been showing up in a lot of my poetry, and this one goes back into 11/11/17. So ash really frequents a lot of my writing, and it says, and it goes, "You fashioned me a bouquet of paper flowers, lit a candle, set them on fire, scatter the ashes within my hollowed out with scattered the ashes within my hollowed out frame, strung my hair across my breastbone, and plucked my heartstrings until I bled rubies into your glass." So
Oh,
ash, healing, again, moving forward, That was a poem that really wanted to come out tonight. And it was interesting too when you mentioned the pencil, because I did find one with a pencil, and this will be my last one for this evening. Is that, and I wrote, and I'm probably going to rework it, but the pencil breathes across the paper in time with yours, a glissade stretching across cotton fiber threads of pressed pulp fashioned with water and thread hand bound. And glissade is actually is also used as a ballet definition, which is a movement typically used as a joining step in which one leg is brushed outward from the body, which then takes the weight while the second leg is brushed in to meet it, creating what? Balance, back and forth balance, and you're moving forward. So
I love
those are my
that.
poems for tonight.
There's equilibrium right there. Yeah.
And I just want to go ahead and share some comments. Cosmic Orphan said, "What's your take on the Yuga cycle?" I'm not sure if he was talking to you, Jeff, or
Not
to
either.
somebody in
I don't know what
chat.
the cycle is.
And Sylvia said, "That makes sense. It is the same with watching with some videos I have done. It hits different depending where I am at. Sometimes not remembering the prophetic stuff I say, it isn't me, our spirit, and our spirit guides come through us." And Jane, oh, you want to wait before we go to Jane? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like there's something higher that's there, that's coming through us. And I feel as if when we're writing or when we're channeling, and art is a form of channeling. I don't care what people say. That's
I
why I
do.
value so much what Heather thinks about this, and that's why I like working with her, because unfortunately I see very little of it going on, or I see not enough of it. And when I do see it, it's through other mediums of art. So what I'm saying to you is that Holy Spirit is, yes, colorful foresight. It's there. If you don't believe in the Holy Spirit, I'm just saying there's something through you that's putting those on paper. And oftentimes you don't know where they're coming from, or a couple of words might ring true to you, and then they feel better on paper. So yeah, that's all I had to say.
And just really quick, Sylvia said, "I was referring to when you write to your poetry from the intellect versus the heart. Yes, art is a form of channeling indeed, or channeling is an art too." And
Yes.
I think most artists are channelers.
Yes.
And I just want to get to, whoops, where did I put my comments here? All righty. Okay. So Jane wanted to share with us. "Before I incarnated, I was told we are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. We are everything and nothing at the same time. I will never forget that." And for, a lot of people, a lot of humans, our brains have a hard time being able to grasp that concept. Some really feel it on a very deep spiritual level, even though they can't quite put it into words. Whereas some, they have it into words, like Jane, boom, she got it. Whereas others can't quite necessarily put it into words, but they still experience the feeling. And then there's still some that are like, I know something, not quite sure what it is, but
yeah. And I also think that space between being somewhere and nowhere is the best part of meditation. When you're doing meditation, I think that can come through in a channel, in a meditation, or through a trance, or through hypnosis. I don't know if anyone's done hypnosis. Those are very important things that, Heather's right, need to be experienced the way it was articulated by Jane, especially because there are some people that are going to go, and they're not wrong to do it. Well, I know there's some, I'm somewhere, all right, but I don't know where, or I'm coming from this vantage point, but I don't know where I'm going. That is such a beautiful thing, that just to hear it on New Year's Eve, as we flip the page of the calendar. So
Most definitely. Is there any other poems you wanted to share, Jeff?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I just got to grab something here. It's
Okay.
9 o'clock. It's time for my meds. Or I should say my med.
I'm gonna take mine too.
So, it's 9:07. Jeff, how good are you on time?
I can keep going. I've got a lot of energy tonight, so.
Okay, so what Jeff and I are going to do is we're going to be doing like this is interesting how I was talking about mystical energy before, because we are talking about, so what Jeff and I do for those who are new is that we can do so if somebody wanted, no personal questions, but if someone wanted an energetic or mystical energetic read, because New Year's Eve is the eve before change or perceived change, and times in our brains are clicking and changing, even though nature is like, well, there really is no change. But for us, it's again like words are spells, what energy we put into our words we cast. So again, same thing with our thoughts and our emotions going into the new year. So what Jeff and I'll do is, if anybody would like a reading, I will pull 1 or 2 cards, or Jeff will pull a card. We'll read the card, say what it is, but then we'll see if we can come up with a poem. Not a long one, but to see how spirit comes through handling that message. So I hope I just did that make sense to you, Jeff?
Mhm.
Okay.
So we're not doing personal reads. We're doing it based on the card.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
The energy messages. Yeah. And for tonight, I brought my Wisdom of the Hidden Realms by Colette Baron Reed. And so if anybody, I'll probably pull 1 card, because then I can go ahead. Oop, that one just jumped out. So as an example, I just got the Winged Wise Ones. Angelic Help. Hey, Jane, you're here. And that first card that flipped out is an angel card. Angelic Help, Miraculous Aid. So for me, I'm going to take the words and try to write them down into a quick little poem and see what I can channel that way. And then Jeff can pull, well, that would be what I would do. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that to see if anybody wants any cards pulled. So let's see. I'm going to just mute myself. Okay, so for me with this card, my example again, I got the wing. I'm just going to put myself in the picture for a second. I got the Winged Wise Ones, which is Angelic Help and Miraculous Aid. And so for me, I just went ahead and started writing. Angels, we move through veils of crystalline energy. Your heart is our aid. Our aid cradles you like a gossamer web of light. So that would be something that I would do really quick. It's not going to be the exact kind of like how I would typically having time to write, but it helps get the creative juices flowing. And I have taken past readings and taken words and phrases out that I plan to use in future, poems. So alrighty, let's see. Sylvia would like one. Okay, Sylvia. Hi, Rosanna.
I'll do Sylvia. Or do you want to do Sylvia?
Yeah, I just said Sylvia is requesting one. So whenever you're ready,
Okay.
just yell at me and say, put me in the big seat. It's easier when Jeff goes first because that gives me a minute to process what I get. Ooh, Sylvia.
Okay. You no longer wanted to hide anymore. You no longer wanted to wear the veil of camouflage, for you stood before all the people who tore out your soul, a master manipulator, a wizard, someone who put you into the deepest of holes, but somehow you evacuated, spread your wings, and flew to some place less unlike you, where you could shed your skin like in the club, Studio 54. That's what I got.
There you go.
That tarot I was being called to this deck for some reason. I don't know why. Deck a character.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So, Sylvia, for you, she says, love that. So poetic reading. And then she did a little laugh out loud with the club 54. So, Sylvia, I pulled out the cosmos, which is, look at that, creativity, vastness. So that was the card I pulled for you. And your poem is, she whispers, do you hear the vastness of her song? The creativity buds just below the surface. Rise and meet your divine mother. And that was for you,
Love
Sylvia.
that.
And she says your poem also makes sense. So
Seriously?
that's how it works, y'all. So if anybody else would like one, let me know. And Sylvia, if I end up expanding or the other one, Sylvia or the other one, I'll share in either a future poetry with Jeff, or I'll do a on one of my other shows. Very different, like it. Cool. So Rosanna would like one. I'm going to put Jeff in first because it takes me a moment to process.
Okay. This is for you, Rosanna. In your personal domain where you lay, all the memories, all the experiences of a past that unfurled before all of our eyes. You have succumbed to so many diseases, such afflictions. Nonetheless, you've risen to meet the occasion and find those about whom you can care and they can care back, never being in lack, never feeling poverty. Even if your life's work is toil and labor, you've come so far, you never have to make another wager.
Give me a second, Roseanne. I'm looking for the right word here. Hmm. Okay. All right. So Rosanna. So let's just say, okay, Rosanna said, wow, that's wonderful to know, Jeff. And yes, there's always work and okay, she must be still writing that. But so for Rosanna, I got the hungry ghosts for you, which has to do about scarcity and lack, obsessions, scarcity, consciousness, and attachments.
Ooh, and I got the poverty card. This will be interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I have here is release the ghosts, which leave you feeling scarce, a hunger so deep. Let the obsession of what glitters believes your heart heavy with fool's gold. And that's where that one ended. And she says here, yes, there's always work and a bout of struggle, but I know I am doing better than many. Okay. So yeah. Now let me just reread that because that was kind of weird how release the ghosts which release the ghosts which leave you feeling scarce, a hunger so deep. Let the obsessions of what glitters believes your heart heavy with fool's gold. I hope that makes sense to you, Rosanna. I keep thinking maybe I should, but it's just like, nope, that's it for now. This could be maybe a poem a little bit later, but no, that's where that one ends. So let me take that off. And alrighty, so and that is what I have. I know it's not a typical reading, but this is something that helps me feel like I can expand my gifts and use my gifts in other creative ways. So we have 7 people, it says here in chat. I ain't not seeing any other comments. So I guess then maybe we'll just give it a couple more moments. If anybody would like a reading with Jeff or I, let us know. We'll give it a couple moments here. And if not, then we'll go ahead and end the show. But very interesting conversation. I did not see that going there tonight, you know.
You gave me something to sleep on, think about. Yeah.
Maybe a past life that's affected me in this life.
Okay.
It's possible. Why don't you go ahead and the question that you just posed to us, put that down in a journal or on a piece of paper. Put that under your pillow. Maybe sleep on it. Get up, maybe write on it and explore. We have really the answers within us. The tarot, the oracle, the channel messages are basically like little nudges, like little keys or opportunities for you to take that and then to write and explore and work and develop and basically do, you know, the groundwork. The when what's that when you go you the boots hit the floor, her boots hit the ground and you're off. So
the rubber meets the road, or
the rubber meets the road. Thank you. So a lot of readings, I think, moving forward for me in the new year is going to be, I think they're going to be a little bit shorter. They're not going to be as long. Says I, who's been trying to do that for the year, because I want to be able to give, like, I don't say hints, but kind of like guideposts. Like, this is what this card says. This is what it means, or these couple right here. But to really try to understand and work with the message. Take that message, sit with your guides, sit with yourself, because we really do have pretty much all the answers we need within ourselves. You know, we're kind of like the cheerleaders here, like little cards and images to kind of help us, along the way.
We might not like the answers.
Yeah.
We may have to do work.
Yeah.
But they're there, and the more we ignore them, the worse it will get if we don't work through them. So,
and I'm the same. I try to, I try not to hit the cards up so much, or certain questions in lives, and just be like, okay, let's just see where this goes, and give it time. Like last week or the week before, I had a dream where I woke up and it was a white sheet of paper, and it was like a spreadsheet. It was just one name, and the sheet was like this long, and it just kept saying Lilith, 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 and all the way down. And so I asked for just a little bit of insight with Allie and her game that night. And they're saying, start exploring maybe some Black Moon Lilith, start exploring a little bit of Lilith. And that made sense because of our current situation. So that's something moving into the year, to start paying attention to my dreams, what I can remember. Because, sometimes our medications mess up our dreams. Makes them a little harder, to remember, at least for me.
For me
so
too.
When I wake up in the morning, at least I ask my spirit team, as long as I can have just one small image, or what's be the most important for me to remember to get through the day. So, and Rosanna says, I know I'm close, but I'm still not getting my guides' messages. Part of it is believing I can do it. Well, sometimes it's like you might be trying too hard. I mean, not all of our messages are going to come, with horns and trumpets. For me, a lot, I think I'm not being, flippant, my dear, but that was me. I was like, being in Arizona and stuff, the way people are talking about how they got messages and this and that. I was waiting for like clouds to separate and to see certain things. But sometimes it could be just something as small and subtle as a word, or somebody that walks by you that makes you think of a person. Or like for me, one day I had a falcon fly over. I was touched by it. I wanted to go follow it, see if maybe there was a feather or something. I ran the path that it took, and in the middle of the ground, there it was. So, it could be something as, something, like that. It could be something that you journal, a word or a phrase. It could be something, but the intent, and sometimes it doesn't always come right away. And we have to be patient with ourselves. We really do. Hi, Tamsy Faye. Your name is, I think I met you through Ginger's channel. Good to see you. So I hope that makes sense, Roseanne. And like I said, a lot of us, we all come from the same backgrounds. I mean, we toss cards, yeah, but a lot of us have come from traumatic past life experiences. We're all human. Just because we toss cards and we channel maybe Akashic records or gods or something, doesn't mean that we still struggle with the same questions that y'all ask us. We're all human, and we all are here to support each other, to give us tools. For me, these are tools to be able to help us to move forward. I think it's that I don't understand the signs.
I just want to interject something here. I pulled a few cards for you. This is the
me?
Oh, for Rossi. This is the Visions of Life Tarot.
Let me put you up on the big one here.
And it's interesting because of what was being said just now. Heather hit the nail on the head, because I got this card, self-sufficiency, and then I got wealth. It's all inside you. Those abilities and everything you need are right there. But until you untap those, and this is the equivalent of the 8 of Swords in the regular tarot, you're gonna feel restricted. So there's something, I think, within you that is maybe something you were told, or something that you've internalized, that making you put restrictions on yourself, because this came in last. If this had come in first, it would be like a journey thing. I don't think it's that. I think it's more like somebody told you weren't good at something. Somebody told you something. There's something that you want to manifest. I know Heather hates that word, but there's something that
No, I don't hate the word. It's just,
it's overused.
it's yeah, and we kind of lose the
I
actual.
feel like there's something there that you want to do, and I feel like Heather said, it's all within you. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pulled a couple, Rossi. I pulled the Sacred Union, and even though this is, the knight and the princess, kissing, it has to do with partnership. The sacred union between yourself and your higher self, your connection to your God source. It's in you. That's the sacred union. Just being connected to yourself, listen to your higher self. And I also got the Lady of the Gift, receiving and withholding. So it feels like people were withholding, or you feel like these messages are being withholding, but you have to connect because they'll come to you. They're being blown to you. It's beautiful. They're like little fairies, and they're all she's blowing. The messages are coming to you, but I think until, and it's interesting. Well, the sword. Okay, I thought there was like a cross on it, but it's not. But the sacred union, that's that connection to yourself, your sacred self, and your higher power. Once you start, like what Jeff was saying, letting go, you know, you weren't receiving the support that you needed. People were withholding the support that you were needing, but now allow it to come to you. Know that you are worthy. Sometimes if we feel like we're not worthy, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not going to get this, we put up so many energetic blocks around us. I mean, a lot of us are, myself, I'm guilty of that. But when we start going into those mindsets, that's when we can learn how to, and this is where the free will comes in too. When we notice that we are going into those negative mindsets, those words that we're saying against ourselves. I'm not going to get this. I'm not doing something right. What? That's when we, okay, all right, nope, I'm taking control. This is not the words this is not me. This is not the words. Let's rewrite this. They will come to me when I am open and ready. These will come to me when the timing is right. I am open to receiving messages from my guides in any way that, just let them know, have that communication. And when you say I am, be very certain what words come after I am, because I am is what we are declaring about ourselves. So I am open to receiving messages from my guides. I am open to, you know, and okay, they said enough. That's all I have to say. Okay. And I know when I'm supposed to stop, because usually it keeps going, but it's just like, no, I am open to receiving the messages from my guides. I am an open and clear channel to receiving messages from my guides. Okay. Happy New Year, Lady Silver. Thank you for popping in. It's good to see you. Hello, Jessica. Good to see you. So I hope that helps Rosanna. And she says, thank you so much. I am grateful for the guidance. So, and what else did she share here? I've had magical moments where I know the synchronicity, but I need to stay open to have some consistency. But acknowledging those magical moments and knowing that you are receiving them, that energy opens and keeps it so that more come to
You'll keep
you.
doing it. You don't need to fight to keep doing it. See,
You
I
don't
feel
have
like
to.
with that restriction card, you're open to it, and it's all within you. That's what those were saying. I think that's why the restriction card came in at the end, because you're fearful of the next thing not happening. where
Mhm.
you're full of,
The hungry ghosts.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
The scarcity.
yeah, that poverty card that came in, and a lot of these readings can tie into other people's too. We could be getting cards for the collective. That poverty card that came in one of the other readings where Heather had the scarcity card or whatever.
This is what a lot of people are feeling right now because
Yeah.
of where the world is. It can be a very scary place right now.
You know, so it's, yeah,
And yes, I say yes, and to be thankful. I am grateful and thankful for the mess. That could be another one too. I am thankful and grateful for the messages that I am receiving from spirit. You know, I graciously and worded how what feels right with you, but when we show gratitude and thankfulness for what we do get, that opens up instead of shutting down our energy. I've been back in Long Island. Oh, that's nice. Tomorrow I'm back in Florida. Okay. Well, finally it's starting to snow a little bit here after what? New Year's Eve. So, yeah. So yeah, it's been really weird weather patterns. Usually by now, Buffalo, Western New York, we've got at least a foot of snow, or still at least several inches on the ground. This is only our real second or third light snowfall of the season so far. It's been absolutely crazy, 45, 50-degree weather. So Mother Earth is definitely shifting.
Yeah.
She's like, come on, guys, I'm moving. You got to move with
If you're
me.
not going to move with me, I'm going to move you.
Yep, exactly. So, all righty. Thank you, everybody, again for joining Jeff and I. I know we got some latecomers coming in, but feel free to watch the playback. Jeff and I had an interesting discussion with Tom and Stephen from Cosmic Orphan. I think he scooted out. If I didn't see you, Stephen, thank you for modding again tonight. You have been the best. And let's see, just really quicker. I've learned to use my own words when talking to spirit, not something somebody else said. You develop it. It's like a guideline, and then it's the wordplay, and then you fit in and you use what resonates the best with you and feels right to you.
And
So,
they
but yeah,
to you too.
Yeah, we had some interesting discussions about free will, spiritual egotism, a little bit. Just having a very open and honest conversation, and again, not to discredit any of our. I mean, we're a big, huge community. We're all different. We all come from different experiences. Again, different backgrounds. Our perspectives are going to be different than others, and anything that we share from our perspectives is not in any way, shape, or form anything against another fellow.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different perspective. It's the hanged man. We're all hanging around having an interesting discussion. So, you're welcome. And sometimes we can't rush it. Sometimes things take a while. We just have to let things flow and adjust, because sometimes maybe our energy may not be open to other energy right away. We have to kind of get used to, like a perfect example, the caterpillar. It has to go through at least 12, I think it's 12 instars before it starts to develop its cocoon. And instars is, it sheds its skin several, like 12 times at least, before it can become the butterfly. So before it can shed the first time, the second time, it has to go through the first. And when it's ready for the third, it sheds the second, and then boom, 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 and then the cocoon, and then the butterfly. So we all, go through our we're all different. We are not cookie cutter. So this is a very personal journey. Was there anything else you wanted to share, Jeff, before we go?
No, and I look forward to doing this again. If you haven't hit the like button for Heather, please do so. Also for me on my channel, if you could as well. It does help the algorithm and leverages our content to get out to more people. So if you like what we're doing, I hope it's something together we can explore further down the line.
And Jeff and I will be back here next month, and I don't know. I may be open to do this maybe every 2 weeks
Yeah,
instead
I
of
would
once
be
a
as
month.
well.
Yeah, because there's just so much, more writing and more things coming up. I think this would be something for me, that I would look forward to and enjoy and bring something fresh and new. And tomorrow there will be a change to the channel name for myself. So I'm just going
I
to
can't wait
work
to
it.
see it. Yeah.
A lot of the Indigo Jaguar is still going to be there, but there's going to be some new things tossed in there because it's like it's time to change. It's time to drop one shedding and move on into the next. We all go through different, so I'm looking forward to that. And Happy New Year to you too, my
Happy
dear.
New Year, Rossi.
Love and light to everybody. Again, everybody have a safe and happy New
Be
Year's,
safe.
and we'll see you next year. Bye.